Hey there. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about what I am writing and what I'm working on right now. So for NaNoWriMo 2016, just a few months ago, I wrote 50,000 words in the month of November. And what I wrote was basically a very long, extended plot summary of the story that I was trying to tell. During the process of NaNoWriMo, I prepared ahead of time during October and I started brainstorming, I started creating a character. It all started from this little blurb that I wrote when I was just like feeling very nihilistic towards, humanity, and it just happens when I get really upset seeing a lot of pain and suffering and seeing people like ignore the connection to nature. These kind of things really bother me, so I wrote this little blurb, and then I was like, what if not a protagonist, but an antagonist of a story had this exact mentality and was gonna go through with it? And what if he was so convinced that it was the only way to save humanity was to destroy most of it? So that was the basis for my story, but I didn't want the main character, the one that we're following, to have this mentality. I wanted to follow, in fact, the person who's going to help the antagonist do this while not realizing that she's helping. And then to show like the emotional response that she has to being in this kind of situation, because it really is just the two sides of my brain fighting over this kind of idea. Also, I wanted to show my love of science and the possibilities for inventions that I think could or might actually be invented. So I wanted to combine all these things into a story, because I always have all these ideas for technology that I think should exist and I think would really make sense to exist, but doesn't. So that's the basis for what my story is and why I'm writing it. But as for what I'm doing right now, I am changing 50,000 words of third person story into first person, and I changed a major plot point in the beginning, and as I write, I take breaks and I try to write a summary of what's happening so that I can be aware of what direction my story is heading, because I really did have to rewrite the entire beginning third of the book, essentially. So I'm just realizing how much work I have ahead of me, and it's quite overwhelming. I'm trying to work on my second draft right now. I finished chapter 3 on Tuesday, it's Saturday, and I'm working on chapter 4, and I am going to have to rewrite those chapters again, but I'm trying not to think about making each chapter perfect as I go, but then it's just hard to forget about the anxiety of having an unfinished first chapter or an unfinished first third. But really, what I learned from NaNoWriMo is that you just push through, and when you push through, you get it out, and then you can see it in front of you instead of in your brain, because sometimes it's hard to really think about what's going on in your brain and have it all straight, but when it's written down and it's chronological order, you can really take it in and see what is wrong with the picture and what's right. The whole time with this story, it's really felt like a movie in my head. Actually, an anime, if we're gonna be honest, it's an anime in my head, and I'm watching it happen, and it's like remembering a dream. Like at first you only remember a few details, but the more you work on it, the more you can remember until you remember the whole thing. Like it's like if you watch Batman so many times, like eventually you're gonna remember pretty much every line. And that's kind of how it is with rewriting the story. It's every time I rewrite it, I'm like, oh, it's actually missing this piece. Not like, oh, I need to add this piece, but no, it's missing this piece. I forgot to put it in, or I didn't think of it in time when I was typing it out, or whatever. So it really is quite a creative process. It's really fun, but it's also really demanding work to write a book. So anybody who's considering writing a book like I was a few months ago before I did, just understand that you have a lot of work ahead of you, and if you're gonna make something that's really good and you're really proud of and portrays the message that you want to portray. Because I don't feel like my book is going to be done until I have expressed exactly what I need to express, and it might take a few drafts to get there. But I think once the story is ready, well, I hope it moves somebody. I mean, that's why I'm writing it, is to hopefully move somebody. Alas, I have talked your ears off for a good while now, and I just wanted to express my feelings about writing and about the project that I'm working on right now. And I hope you enjoyed it, and feel free to comment what you're doing, what things you're writing. If you want to know more about my story, I can maybe make a video just talking about the basic plot of my story. I could do more about my writing process and how it is affecting me emotionally, and just whatever you guys want to know about my writing process, about my story. You can ask about my life, whatever you want to know. I am going to be as open as I possibly can with you guys. Okay, bye, until next time.